excuse them, and then we'll have questions for Coach. Coach, ready when you are.
Yeah, I don't have anything specific. Tight game, so I'll go look back and see how I can do a better job. I know it was good to get to the park today. That deal last night was the dumbest thing I've ever been involved in my life. And I lived at the Lake of the Ozarks one summer. So it was just good to get here and play, get the series underway. It's good to see Marcus compete again, regardless of what the scoreboard says, and it was a good outing numbers-wise today. He just keeps getting better every time. It was good to see Stone. I mean, all his teammates were fired up for him that he got an opportunity to play. What's not a positive is we were one short on the scoreboard to keep that thing rolling. So maybe a little extra motivation tomorrow. But obviously the difference, I think a lot of guys were really good out on that field because there's a lot of talent. But the difference was root.
Questions for the student athletes?
What making root so effective today?
Just throwing strikes, and we were hitting balls right to people, and they played catch. So that was it.
Raise your hand. We'll get a mic to you.
Marcus, what was working so well for you? It seemed like your breaking ball was really on point today. Did that allow you to work out of several of those early jams?
Yeah, I felt like I was throwing the ball over the plate pretty effectively. I think what helped me get out of those jams was my defense and trusting the guys behind me. And they were making plays for me. They were playing catch, and you know they made some big plays. So that helped me a lot. But I felt like I had some good pitches going for me today for sure.
Marcus, with Helfrich's 2-run homer there, wasn't the highest exit velo off the bat. Did you think it was out? And what pitch did you throw there on the home run?
I believe it was a slider, and I didn't think it was out. But that's baseball. The wind was blowing today, and he got it up in the jet stream. So kudos to him. But that's why we play the game. Things like that. It's never a sure thing, but he got it enough, and that was that.
Dean, you did get the one hit off of Root. It was the home run. Just what did you see in that at bat? What did you get?
Yeah, it was a breaking ball, so just kept going, stuck to my approach on the route, and it worked.
Dean, compared to 3 weeks ago when you faced Root, was there anything that looked different today versus that last game?
It was obviously better today than last time. Don't remember much from last outing, but it was effective tonight.
For both players, I know Marcus, you'll have a different vantage point tomorrow, but what's the message to the team overnight and going into the day tomorrow with the season being on the line?
That's why we play 3. We played series all year long, and we dropped the first game, is what it is, fell short, but that's why we got 3 games. We come back tomorrow with some fight, and we can even it up. So.
Perfectly said.
Yeah, for both of you guys, I mean, what's it kind of like playing in a game where emotions and the energy is just kind of building for much of it?
That's why you come in this league, it preps you for the best, and it's on display today.
Yeah, like he said, that's why you play the game, and you don't want to play in front of an empty stadium. You want to play in front of SEC stadiums, SEC fans, and it's a great environment, and it's fun to play here. So.
Dean, what's the comfort level knowing you have Doyle going for you on the mound tomorrow, and just kind of he didn't have a great outing here a couple of weeks ago. How confident are you that he'll bounce back better this week?
Yeah, I mean, Doyle's Doyle. Everyone has trust in him, but down the staff too, everyone's got trust. I mean, Marcus went out there and threw his tail off today, so it's a comfortable feeling as a defender and a hitter.
Marcus, I wonder, Root 12 up 12 down to start. Do you kind of relish when another pitcher's kind of has their thing going? Does it maybe fire you up anymore? How was your emotions during the start?
I can feed off the crowd a little bit. I don't really pay much attention to what he's got going on over there. Obviously pay attention to our hitters and what kind of at-bats they're taking, but, I was kind of focused on myself and what I could do to help the team win today. So.
Any more questions for the student athletes? Fellas, appreciate your time. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you, boys. Thank you. Coach, honored you're here.
Yeah, Coach, just from your vantage point, I know Dean kind of addressed it. What was Zack doing today that kind of gave you guys some trouble?
Competing first. He's a big-time competitor, and we obviously rewatched that video and looked at some of those at-bats. I think he made a couple mistakes to lefties that I haven't seen the view yet from, center field or from behind home plate, but he didn't seem to make those to the left-handed hitters today. That's what triggered a couple things. Then seemed to get a little momentum going too, and some confidence built for sure. But again, without that vantage point, it's hard to see what's different because the stuff wasn't down. There was nothing going on where he couldn't locate a certain pitch last time or the velo wasn't down. It really was an outlier for a season that he's put together to this point. If anything, kudos to him for that, and then kudos to our guys for that was one of the only SEC outings where somebody got to him early and fairly well.
Marcus has had a couple performances like this where he just effectively works around a lot of base runners. What makes him good in those spots?
I think he's matured a lot. I don't know that he was, kind of reminds me of Crochet's deal. I don't know that he was really confident when he was first with us in the first few outings. But because he's worked hard to get better in a bunch of different areas, and he's still improving in some of those areas, it's been fun to see. That's kind of what I was getting at early on with my rambling at the beginning of the deal. But he's just matured as a person and a pitcher.
After Root was pointing to Andrew, you seem very frustrated.
Yeah.
What happened there?
The guy was fired up, man. The way he threw, you could argue that he could have done a cartwheel if he wanted to, and there's nothing wrong with it. I got no beef with that. Like, those are the Doyle, Marcus, Root. Those are the guys that you like being around. You don't want to be around those guys that don't want to compete. My issue was not with him. It was with maybe a little PTSD. That was not the same. So, and I'm not criticizing. Well, I don't care what it is, but I'm just saying factual. It wasn't the same with what we just dealt with prior to last weekend. Wasn't the same. But it's a different crew, too. And these guys would not be in the Super Regional if they weren't highly qualified at what they do. And I don't know that there was any missed calls or anything, but that's where my frustration came from.
I think the umpires were issuing warnings to both dugouts. I mean, were you wanting a different result from that?
Not really. Maybe I wanted to go back in time, kind of like Clemson would like, So that would be about it. But I think, because I misbehaved, there was a warning, and then retroactively there was a warning for Root being fired up to get a guy that's, I don't know what the tickets cost, but I'm pretty sure everyone here would pay good money to see Root versus Fisher again. So all for any initial emotion that comes out of anybody for our game tomorrow or any of the games that are left. If you're one of, I think there's still 16 teams, whatever, how many teams are left, good for you athletes. It's a fun environment to be in. It'll be an experience you'll look back on forever and cherish it, even if you make it to the big leagues, because you're going to have to make it to the MLB, probably World Series, to match kind of what we had going on here today.
Yep, I wanted to ask you about that too. How incredible is this scene, this environment, and everything that went into it on the field, tension-wise, and just the way that the game played out today?
Yeah, again, I think the tension was kind of overrated, especially if you just ignore me. I think, everybody's just kind of pouring what they got into it. But and maybe I'm wrong. To me, it kind of seemed like it was the fourth game. It was like that when we were here last time. So, and I was asked yesterday, like, will the crowd be different? Yeah, it was different. Little bit of elevated sense of energy in the air, but the crowd was the same. They were the same when I was here. They're rowdy, and they come out in big numbers. So, again, I bet it's great everywhere across the country, but there is a little bit something different about people in the Southeast. They are passionate is understatement. So glad I got to transport from St. Louis. Well, I guess Missouri was in the Big 12 when I was there. So glad to be fortunate to be a part of it.
Tony, what went into your decision to start Marcus today, and assuming you start Liam tomorrow, and how comforting is it to know that you do have Liam pitching tomorrow?
Yeah, Liam will start tomorrow, and, the fact we called on him Monday solidified that. I don't know, that we would have done it the way we did it this week if it wasn't for a true relief appearance. And then same thing, the last time we were here, Liam happened to be on game 2 as well because a relief appearance. He started the day against Auburn on a Sunday. So looking out for the kid's arm. I think Frank's good about that, and he puts a bug in my ear. But don't get me wrong, we're self-serving. We're looking out for ourselves too. We want the guy that we're using to try and put him in the best position possible to succeed. So tomorrow will be similar chaos. So I'm comfortable with the group of guys that they're not on the bus if we're not comfortable with them. So even the guys who don't get action, there's some guys that aren't even on the roster, active roster. I'm good with this group.
Tony, what's the message to the guys going into tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, should have let them talk to the team afterwards. I just kind of gave them the details of what tomorrow is because we're at 2, I believe. And so we'll be the home team. You kind of get that awkward deal where you flip it a little bit and talk to them about what they needed to do between now and then. And we got a long bus ride back to Rogers, so might as well use that to decompress a little bit and also maybe not read as much stuff that you all write, with all due respect, and just kind of, reflect on the day. What can they do better? And then, man, this stuff's stressful, so maybe be a young tyke for a little bit and chill out until it's go time tomorrow.
Were you pleased with the quality of your at-bats against Root?
Not really. You could spin that pretty good if I said yes and make me look foolish because you'd like better results. I mean, Gavin's just out. Gavin was aggressive on the first pitch. He's a little out front, and then Fish just missed one. And, of course, he runs off the field like a maniac and letting all of our team know that. The guy's fun to watch play. But after that, he got it rolling downhill a little bit on us. So I think the key against him is to get him off the stretch, get somebody on base, and we just did not do that enough. So be easier to specifically analyze when you rewatch that video, but I think it's kind of an easy one to say that we would have liked to have and potentially could have done better. But he had it going on today too.
What does getting Peoples back tomorrow mean for the team?
Yeah, I think maybe just a little bit of familiarity. It is a deal. He's a switch hitter, but it is a deal where he adds some balance to the lineup when he's hitting left-handed. He's also really played well for us. I mentioned Fish, Peebles. There's some other guys. The second half of the season has been really good for them. Be good to have him in there, have some experience, and who knows, maybe it'll mix it up a little bit to help have a change in our favor tomorrow.
Liam's last appearance here was a real outlier. When you went back and looked what happened or didn't happen from your vantage.
They were aggressive, for sure. And, from the beginning, I think he just never really kind of had his rhythm. I looked at it. I don't have a magic answer for you. What stuck out to me, and I kind of beat this drum a ton with our local media, is he then the next week was so frustrated with it, he tried to undo it. So I know he's looked at it. Frank's looked at it. And, it's kind of like, again, I'll steal words from Dean. Baseball, it's a new day. So Root didn't throw as well the last time we were here as he did today. So you try and make adjustments, but anything can happen. Anything can happen. It's certainly chaotic this time of year.
Coach, appreciate your time.
Yeah, thank you all.